Today I am going to discuss about Jürgen Habermas, who was a German sociologist and philosopher in the tradition of critical theory and pragmatism, and he was born in 1929. So he is perhaps best known for his theory on the concept of communicative rationality and public sphere. So if you see about his work, then his work focuses on the foundations of social theory and epistemology and the analysis of advanced capitalistic society and democracy, the rule of law in critical social evolutionary context and contemporary politics, particularly German politics. So here today I am going to discuss about his communicative action theory and concept of life goal in that theory. What is this idea? I am going to discuss about that. First of all, I just want to tell you one thing, that what Habermas has said. According to Habermas, Marx failed to distinguish between two analytically distinct components of society. Components of species being work that means labor, purpose, rational action, and social interaction, that is symbolic or communicative action. So what he discussed about the fundamental distinction between work and interaction. So again, he divided this purposive rational action into two kinds. This is instrumental and strategic one. Instrumental, that means a single actor rationally calculating the base means to a given goal, and strategic action, that is it involves two or more individual coordinating purposive rational action in the pursuit of goal. So Habermas mostly is interested in communicative action, in which the actions of the agent that is involved that are coordinated not through egocentric calculation of success, but through acts of reaching understanding. So this is very important thing. And so in communicative action, participants are not primarily oriented to their own successes. They pursue their individual goals under the conditions that they can harmonize their plans of action on the basis of common situation definitions. According to him, the end of purposive rational action is to achieve a goal, and the objective of communicative action is to achieve communicative understanding. So he said that the communicative action, it is the most distinctive and most pervasive human phenomenon. So he critically analyzed undistorted communication. Yes, I will have to discuss about this later, but yes, I will have to discuss here some very important thing, that Habermas was greatly influenced by Marx, Weber, Durkheim, Mead, Locus, Horkheimer, Theodor Adorno and Parsons. And his main focus is on transforming the negative critique of original critical theory into a positive program for emancipatory practice. So he is concerned with reformulating Marxian theory. This is very important thing. Everybody will have to remember that he is concerned with reformulating Marxian theory in the light of 20th century social changes, and most especially in light of the expansion of state power into all spheres of human life. The theory of communicative action, that is the communicative action theory, challenges the Marxist focus on economy, that is alienated labor, as the determining factor of oppression, and he argues that the key to emancipation is rather to be found in communication than it is in moral discourses between individuals and deliberative discourses amongst equal citizens. So in communicative action, actors in society seek to reach common understanding and to coordinated actions by reason, argument, consensus and cooperation, rather than strategic actions strictly in pursuit of their own goals. So this is the thing, that his main focus is to transforming the negative critique of original critical theory into a positive program for emancipatory practice. And as already I told that this theory of communicative action, this challenges the Marxist focus on economy as the determining factor of operation, and he mostly said about emancipation, that he said that the key to emancipation is communication. That means he mostly said about undistorted communication. So that is the thing that he said that like if you going to compare if we go going to compare about with Habermas interpretation with Marx, then we can see that according to Marx, the goal of communist society in which undistorted work would exist for the first time. But Habermas said the political goal of society is undistorted communication. This is the thing, that where there will be no any kind of interruption in there will be no any kind of barrier in communication. That is the goal of a political society. So in terms of immediate goals, Marx he seeks to elimination of capitalist barrier to undistorted work, but Habermas he is interested in the elimination of barrier to free communication. That is the very very important differences between them. So the rationalization of communicative action, that is leads to communication free from domination, that is free and open communication. And according to Habermas, the endpoint of the evolution of the society is rational society, that is rationality. That means removal of the barriers that distort communication, but more generally it means a communication system in which ideas are openly presented and defended against criticism. So Habermas he discussed his this theory of communicative action in his famous essay. I will discuss, I have included this presentation. So Habermas' communicative action theory, that one sees the possibility of a connection to social capital. Yes, it is true that Habermas does not use the term social capital, but a reader can see the possible connection while reading what he says about other things. So communicative action, it is an individual action that is designed to promote common understanding in a group and to promote cooperation, as opposed to strategic action designed simply to achieve one's personal goals. So the basic premise of Habermas, if you see that it is, he summarized this, that if we assume that the human species maintains itself through the socially coordinated activities of its members, and that this coordination is established through communication and in certain sphere of life through communication aimed at reaching agreement, then the reproduction of the species also requires satisfying the conditions of rationality inherent in communicative action. So this is the thing that he said about communicative action theory. So Habermas discussed about 4 kind of social action that are teleological, normative, dramaturgical and communicative. So it's very important to know that what are the interpretation of Habermas regarding this different kind of action. What is teleological action? It is behavior which is oriented to calculating various means and selecting the most appropriate means to realize explicit goal. That means we can term it as an instrumental action that is oriented to success, or strategic action, that is the special case when the actor tries to influence the decision of on the basis of rational justification. So this is the thing, that it is the behavior which is oriented to calculating various means. That means suppose I have some objective, I want to achieve that means. So this is the thing, that it is the behavior which is oriented to calculating various means and selecting the most appropriate means to realize the explicit goals. That I have solved goals. So to achieve that goal, I will have to adopt different means to achieve that goal. So in that context, what are the different actions that you can see that done by individual? That is teleological action. So that may be instrumental one, that may be strategic one. Next one, normatively regulated action. That's about normative action. So it is behavior that is oriented to common values of a group. That is particularly you can see it is related with the common values of a group. This is about normatively regulated action or normative action. Next one, dramaturgical action. The name indicates, obviously you can understand it, that it is action involve conscious manipulation. That means it is about conscious manipulation of oneself before an audience to or public. That means conscious memory develop a drama like a drama. That means it is ego-centered in that it involved actors mutually manipulating their behavior to present their own intention, but it is also social in that such manipulation is done in context of organized activity. And next, if you see that communicative action, that is interaction among agents who use speech and non-verbal symbols as a way of understanding their mutual situation and their respective plans of action in order that they can agree on how to coordinate their behavior. So this is about you see this is interaction among agents, and they can use different speech and non-verbal symbol as a way of understanding their mutual situation and their respective plans of action. So this is about communicative action. So these four types of action, if you see that it presupposes different kind of wall. First one, objective or external wall of manipulative object. Next one, social world, that is about norms, values and other socially recognized expectation. And next one, subjective world of experiences. So here it's very important thing that I will have to mention here that in communicative action, actor refers to simultaneously to the things in the objective, social and subjective world in order to negotiate common definition of the situation. So therefore, actually communicative action that are more rational as it deals with these three world. So according to Habermas, he said that there are more rationality inherent in the very process of communicative interaction that it means ends or teleological action. So suppose when individual or people communicatively act or interact, they use and at the same time produce common definitions of the situation. So these kind of definitions, such definitions are part of the life form of a society, and if they have been produced and reproduced through the communicative action, then they are the basis for the rational and non-oppressive integration of the society. So the basic theme of his theory is the concept of system and life form. So here I will have to discuss with you about what are the basic things that these I have mentioned here, that about some regarding possession of something that in context of life fall, that are very very important thing. Yes, but here I am just going to discuss here that about what are the interpretation of Habermas regarding life fall, what he said in context of life fall. So as already I have mentioned that he is a contemporary philosopher with a worldwide reputation, and his idea of communicative action is very very important to understand his interpretation, his reinterpretation of Marxism also. And one very important thing I just want to tell you here, that Habermas spends a great deal of his time on language and the use of language that is differ in the different mode of action. And in 1986 he said, I am of the opinion that social pathologies can be understood as from a manifestation of systematically distorted communication. So this is another important thing that he mostly said about distorted communication, that and the theory of communicative action, that is another major subject, that is about the theory of is the life fall and the relationship between life fall and communicative action. So Habermas, he said that the subject acting communicatively always come to an understanding within the horizon of the life fall from more or less diffuse, always unproblematic background conviction. So it serves as a source of situation definition that are presupposed by participant as unproblematic, and life fall also stores the interpretation work of preceding generation. So he argued that this is the thing, that the life fall according to Habermas, it is the background of ordinary life, mainly private, somewhat naive and biased, but also authentic and essential towards satisfaction as a human being. It is a reservoir of taken for granted of unshaken conviction that participants in communication draw upon in cooperative process of interpretation. In the life fall, people mostly communicate with other people that they know and who share their daily experience Only then can single elements and specific taken for granted be brought up for conversation and critical analysis. So this is the thing, that this is the life role is the background for ordinary life. So that Habermas, he said that a life role can be regarded as a rationalized to the extent that it permits interaction and it guided by communicatively achieve understanding. So this is very important thing of Habermas regarding life role, that this is the most important thing, that that it is about like you can see, it is about the background for ordinary life, and this is mainly private, some are neighbor bias, but sometimes it is also authentic and essential to our satisfaction because we are human being. And in the life role, people mostly communicate with other people that they know, because in and who share the daily experience. In our daily life, we always share some of our like you can see our daily experience. So communication, it stands to unclear to outsiders and certainly not persuasive to people unlike them. And but Habermas argues that we are incapable of thinking about everything at once. So in order to reason and communicate, we must take most points as given. Only then can single elements specific taken for granted be brought up for conversation and critical analysis. So these are the very important thing regarding Habermas. So again, here I just want to mention here that Habermas said that life role, it is a culturally transmitted and linguistically organized stock of interpretative patterns. So what are the interpretative patterns? I mentioned it in the earlier slide. Interpretative patterns in the life role, there are three interpretative patterns, that is interpretative patterns with respect to culture and system of symbols, interpretative patterns which are pertaining to society or social institution, and interpretative patterns which are oriented to personality or aspect of self and being. So that is that actor possess implicit and shared stock of knowledge about cultural tradition, values, beliefs, linguistic structure, and their use in interaction. They also know how to organize social relation and what kind of and pattern of coordinated interaction are proper and appropriate. And they understand what people are like, how they should act, what is normal, what is abnormal. So these are the things. So here it is very important again that what his idea about system, that he said that system, this is about composed of formal organizations such as government, corporation, parties, unions and courts. And in a system, people have official role and must pursue predefined goal. That means although sometimes they may have some ethical constraint that within this we cannot get this one. That is quite normal. But for example, suppose I just want to here put one example. For example, defense lawyer, they are required to defend their clients. Corporate CEO, they are supposed to maximize profit. So in the current periods, there are fundamentally two systems. One is market, in which instrumental action that leads to profit, and government, in which instrumental action demonstrate power. Although the people who work in market and government, they are complex individuals with other commitment, their official work responsibilities are to maximize money or to administer power. To illustrate the life role, Habermas invite individual to envision an older construction worker who sends a younger and newly arrived co-worker to fetch some beer, telling him to hurry up and be back in a few minutes. So these are some example actually. So the senior worker, he assumed that a whole set of beliefs and values are shared on the team. For example, the German construction workers enjoy and expect to drink beer at break during the workday. Beer, this is for sale in the vicinity. The younger or the most recently hired person is the one who does unpaid source for the group, and so on. So each of these assumptions could be brought into doubt and subjected to debate. For example, as Habermas suggests, the younger worker might say, "But I have no car," or "I am not thirsty." Other elements of situation might generally pass unnoticed. It became relevant as circumstances change. If the younger worker is an immigrant without health coverage and he falls off the ladder, as he goes to buy the beer, several relevant laws and controversies may suddenly occur to the workers, moving from the background knowledge or to topics of explicit discussion. But at any given moment, simply by virtue of being human, the workers must assume most features of the situation as a shared or implicit background, a vast and incalculable wave of presupposition. This is their life whole. So, one reason is that we need the life whole to think at all. We are capable of testing a specific assumption only while holding our other assumption for granted. And second reason is that our life whole is ours, a condition of living authentically. But although every particular point should be subject to discussion, the whole life whole must be protected. And again, one needs the life whole to think at all, for we are capable of testing a specific assumption only while holding our other assumption for granted. And the second reason that our life whole is ours. So it is the thing that already I discussed. So Habermas summarizes in his The Theory of Communicative Action, the volume 2, that the life whole processes are interrelated with system processes in a society. Action in economic, political, familial and other instrumental context draws upon and reproduces the cultural, societal and personal dimension of the life whole. Yet evolutionary trends are for differentiation of the life whole into separate stock of knowledge with respect to culture, society and personality, and for differentiation of system processes into distinctive and separate institutional cluster such as economic, state and familial law. But such differentiation can create problem of integration and balance between the life whole and the system, and therein resides the dilemmas and crises of modern society. Thus, this is the thing that he said about life whole and communicative action theory. So last here, I include one important thing that he in his theory of communicative action, he identifies two major type of action, that is productive rational action, and already I told you that about communicative action, that's about socio-cultural interaction within the life whole. And he said that the problem of modern society is increases because of the distortion of communication action, and he believed that if society focused on the rationalization of communication action rather than the productive rational action, that society's problem will be solved. But if we the people of modern society give more emphasis on the productive rational work and make ourselves busy in acquiring material prospects and pleasure, as a result of which stress anxiety is on the rise in modern society. And he argues that the rationalization that allowed for free and open communication, that will lead to less repression and rigidity in society, as well as individual flexibility and reflectivity. And contrary to Marx, he focused on the normative system rather than the productive system, and he felt that free and open communication would lead to a less distorted system of norms and values. Here definitely I will have to mention here that he did not believe in a Marxian idea that the struggle within society stem from class consciousness and class struggle, but from the distortion of communicative action. Thus, in this theory, he defines communication action as it is that the form of social interaction in which the plans of action of different actors are coordinated through an exchange of communicative acts, that is through a use of language oriented toward reaching and understanding. And he called this analysis a universal pragmatics, and communication theory as was his basis of pragmatics. So, at last, a neo-Marxist line of criticism, Paul Habermas, for equating juridification with commodification as state with the market. And yes, critic holded the underlying process is capitalist exploitation, and the welfare state is only a threat to the life whole because it is a tool of capital. But Habermas disagrees with this point. According to him, the underlying process is growing specialization, a feature of modernity. And he insists that in socialist society, the state colonizes the life world in a parallel way to the market's colonization. In capitalist society and in welfare states, both traits cooperate at once. Thank you.